Hello, landmines and jellyfish. Welcome back to Knives, I guess, and I'm sure I left my social competence around here somewhere. Have you guys seen it? But do me a favor and hit that like button or dishonor upon your house. And we just finished up a live stream going in on the Craftsman Compact Pocket Knife. So let's take a look at what we're holding, because it'll bother you if I don't. And you know I love you. So first things first, and most importantly, the pocket clip is tip up, which is the Lord's carry. It could be tip down, and I hate tip down, but we all live in sin. We have got the plastic scales right here. We got a thumb stud. Let's flick the stud. And we got right about 3.25 inches of unidentified titanium steel. So I carried this thing. It did really good. I enjoyed the compression lock on it. I enjoyed having this thing on me. It carried in the pocket extremely well. It was a good experience overall. And they're like 15 bucks. So, you know, we did our live stream on it. We had a lot of fun. That was a great live stream. But, you know, one thing that we did discuss, all right, one thing that we did discuss is at 15 bucks, you know, the comparison could almost be made against the original Ozark Trail Dropout with the D2 that outperformed what it should have, like, insanely. But we can't compare this to this anymore because you can't buy a good one of these anymore and be even reasonably confident that the blade steel is going to be okay. So we are taking that out of the equation, and we are just putting this in the arena of normal $10 to $15 knives. So, you know, we were hoping for good performance, and my expectations were 3CR grade performance. You know, I set my expectations quite reasonably, and I got very reasonable results. So let's go over the timeline of events, and then we'll talk some more about it at the end of that. On the edge sharpness tester, and by the way, I gotta throw this qualifier out there. We measured the amount of time spent cutting. All right, it's reliable, it's repeatable, it's been giving us good results, and we can't count each individual cut. All right, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these cuts that we can't do it. So, you know, that's out of the way. But we popped out the edge sharpness tester. We got a 256 where I tested it to start off with, which is a little bit rough, but I did beat on the edge just a little bit. I did take a heavy cut through triple wall cardboard while I was carrying it for the week. So, you know, take that into account. But we got 45 minutes, and it started cutting like absolute trash. But we pulled a 426 right here at the center belly. We moved up to the front, got a 488. And then towards the back here, we got a 269. So the wear pattern on that is very, very much in line with the normal wear pattern that we see. So we sharpened this thing up, and we found at 55 minutes, we found a 467 in the worst spot that I could test. We went through a bunch of those clips. Man, those things go fast. But we sharpened this thing down, and we found different bevel angles. One side was around, 20 degrees. One side was right at 17. So we went ahead and sharpened it and got it down to a 165, which is a pretty good edge. I was hoping for the 120s to 140s. That's what we've gotten before out of 3CR13. However, that's what we got. We went all the way up to 3000 grit, and we went all the way down to 0.1 microns on this drop. So, not the best edge we've ever gotten, but it's a good serviceable edge. And we went for our first hour, and we got a 506 around the center of the belly. We got a 497 up here towards the tip, and back towards the heel, we got a 210. So again, consistent wear patterns. This is what we expected to see. And then we gave it another 40 minutes, and we got a 539 around here. We got a 499 a little bit farther up. We tested a little farther back. We got another 520 somewhere around there. And then getting up towards the tip, we pulled a 498 up here. And that's where it stopped cutting. You know, we gave it like 2 or 3 more minutes because it was already struggling in the cuts. But at that last one, it was just tearing and rolling the cardboard. We could not get a clean cut out of it to save our lives. Now, normally when we hit those levels of devastation, we're hitting the 600s on the sharpness tester. But last night, it wasn't doing it. It would not get down to 600 before it just couldn't cut anymore. And I'm not sure exactly why, outside of, you know, the bevel right here, right at the tip, was probably absolutely smashed out. But you've got a very slicey profile. The profile on this sliced quite well. It did really good for that. And, you know, I'm not too mad at it. I'm really not. Now, I did freehand sharpen this one because, like, the first time we sharpened it, you can see here where I dinged up the paint on the thumb studs. it was kind of unavoidable. You couldn't get all the way to the back, and maybe it'll show up. Let's see. Yeah, you can see right there where the bevel kind of stops right there in the very, very dingus end of the heel. It just would not go any further. And the cardboard we were cutting up beat up the thumb stud right here. It definitely took some paint off of that. And, you know, it's a little bit of a shame we couldn't pop that off, but for a $15 beater, I can't really argue with that. Like, I'm not super mad at it. I knew I was going to beat up the thumb studs, and I couldn't really get them loose without destroying that paint anyways, so, like, it kind of didn't matter. I stopped and I freehand sharpened it, and, you know, I'm still practicing that, and I always advise, practice your freehand sharpening when you get a chance to. Like, you know, this was just for me to practice my freehand. Like, we had already done all of our cardboard slayer. I got her down to a 180. Now, normally when I freehand sharpen at the angle that I get, which is around 17 degrees, give or take, you know, we'll pull it down to the 140s. I've seen a couple of 120s, but this is not the hardest steel that we've tested, so the 180, that's kind of believable. It's still cut really well, and we have a 600 grit finish going onto the strops and polishing it down with the 9 micron, the 5 micron, the 1 micron, and the 0.1 micron. So, like, we charge the strops up fresh. We gave her what for. So, let's take a look at where our edge is at. I'll just show you what we're looking at here. Like, it is a very, very nice cut. It is a very nice cut. We pulled some extremely tight curly cues off it, which I really, really enjoyed seeing. But this is the edge sharpness tester that you guys kindly provided. I know a lot of y'all have seen this about 500,000 times, but, you know, if you're a new face and you haven't seen this before, how this thing works is it measures the number of grams of force it takes to cut through the wire on this calibrated test clip, and the lower the number, the better. And you guys kindly provided this for the channel through your super chat donations and channel memberships, so thank you for that. I will always be grateful. Let's see where we're at. We're just going to take one sample real quick. And a 188. So, yeah, it's consistently testing around 180. And, you know, so that was pretty good. Now, the one giant kick in the nuts, the one giant unexpected kick in the nuts is the ergonomics. Oh, man. The ergonomics were worse than walking in on your mom's OnlyFans. They were so bad. You know, and it started off okay because I kind of figured this right here would protect my hand. I think it kind of made it worse because you got some sharp corners in here, and this little pocket right here really dug in. I mean, it beat this callus to death so badly. I think you can see like a white line that appeared in the middle of that callus, which I haven't seen before. It really chewed it up. All right, if I hadn't done tons of cardboard slayer and built up a nice thick beefy callus right here, it would have been so painful. Like, it hurt. I was changing my grip constantly to try to get that callus up out of here. I kind of succeeded, kind of didn't. So that was unexpected, but that is for extended push cuts again and again and again over the course of basically 2 hours and 40 minutes of you know, nonstop cutting. Like, that was like, you know, almost 3 hours of nonstop cutting with that thing. It beat me to death. So that's part of why we do that, is to check out the ergonomics for extended use. I like that. I like the action on that. I like the compression lock on it. I really do. Like, the action feels weird. It feels cheap, but it feels good. It's kind of like cheap pizza. Even when it's bad, it's still good. But, you know, the ergonomics definitely tore my hand up. So, you know, that's kind of what happened with Cardboard Slayer, and you know I love sharing with you what happened during Cardboard Slayer. So, like, at the end of the day, for a $15 knife, this thing is fantastic. I would have no problems carrying this thing day to day for a long time. No problems whatsoever. You know, even having to sharpen it a little bit more frequently, just no problems with it. You know, and I have mentioned it before, but I remember back in the day when you got a $10 or $15 knife, you got some Bud K stuff or below. Like, you got super, super low quality. You know, if I had gotten this as a gift from somebody, I would be super, super pumped, and I promise you I would have been carrying that everywhere when I didn't have a whole lot of knives to pick from. You know, that being said, of course, if you have much, much nicer stuff with much better blade steel, this is going to be a novelty. It's going to be more of a toy, but it's a cool toy. It's a cool toy. Like, I can't really argue with that. So, that's everything that I can think to cover at this point. I'm just holding y'all hostage. So, all that being said, thanks for looking at my crap. Subscribers, you guys are awesome. Y'all keep coming in. I appreciate you so, so much. If you haven't subscribed, please do. We got live streams, regular videos. There's plenty of activities. comments. I love some feedback. Let's take a second to thank Saints EDC for making this happen, and we will be linking off to some products from friends of the channel. They're not affiliate links. I don't make any money off them. I'm just helping some friends out. And I've got my Amazon shop up to show you guys stuff that I found interesting that I like. You don't have to use it. That's just the best way to put a list of stuff up there. But either way, here you go. And as always, we are going to link up to Cutting Lacey EDC's Diamond Emulsion if you want to step your stropping game up, make it easier to sharpen your blades, and keep them sharp. Wonderful product. I use it myself on every single knife I sharpen now. And we are going to link up to Mad Yocco's Wax. If you want to protect your blades that are prone to corrosion, if you want to darken up the color of your micarta, or take care of a million other things, he is going to be on Blade Binge with his wax. Alright, just supporting some friends of the channel and some small businesses. Alright, y'all have a nice day.